welcome back to another video. Today I am building a Nismo 1.5 way and an R200 diff for the East 15. Pretty much got everything out here ready. So we've got the brand new Nismo core 1.5 way, just so it's not quite as aggressive. The car's not going to be a drift car, so it doesn't need to lock up all the time. Got just a fanboy sort of item I've always wanted since I was young. Started playing with cars, a big G-Ready rear cover. Just a new rear seal, a couple of bearings for the side of the diff, the zinc plated diff bolts, just the rear studs for the G-Ready kit, front oil seal and side oil seals, and then we got the diff that's been draining overnight. Currently got a 4-bolt rear cover on it, but that's easy enough. We'll take that off, get it all cleaned up, give it a fresh coat of paint and start pulling it down. Alright. Just pulled the rear cover off, let some more of the fluid drain out. Wasn't too bad. Pulled the little ABS protection ring things off the side, as they're pretty bent up and I won't run them anymore. The diff nugget about to pull out, as obviously that's getting replaced. I need to pull the crown wheel off it. Easy to do that on the bench, and I'll just measure up the total distance so when I put the bearings on the other one I can compare the two. Now I can take the casing outside, give it a good clean up. Just chuck it under the pressure washer so it's dry and ready to go when we get to the reassembly stage. And I have to chuck some paint on it at some point there too. Easier with the core out, so I can just stand it onto its back. As for the centre of the diff, I'll chuck the bearings on now. No one wants to see that. Pretty straightforward. Press them on. Easy as. But we'll knock that out. Get something I've got coming as a tripod, so I'll be able to film a bit more of me working rather than just before and afters of everything, but not sure when it's going to be here, as it's meant to be here probably last week. Good old Australia Post. Alrighty, ring gear is off, marked both outer plates, kept the shims off to each side as well, so hopefully it all matches up and it goes in okay how it was. Then over here we have got the bearings on the new core versus the old welded core. Bit of a difference in look, hell of a lot chunkier the new one. Honestly don't know how well the 1.5 way is going to drive, but I figure time to splash out on this car, give it some little treats. Deserve better than the welded diff. Now the inside there, you can see some of the clutch packs from the top. Good brake clean up later, and she's looking pretty good, ready for some paint. Not going to be perfect to paint, but it'll be pretty good, especially being underneath the car. Just chuck some engine enamel on it so it lasts as good as it can. Got to find the torque specs for the ring gear bolts, or the crown wheel bolts, whatever you want to call them. That way I can do them up and get them nice and tight, that way it's ready to go back in the diff. Probably chuck the grease in the bearings just to be safe as well. Don't think they'll need it, but better to be safe, and it'll make me feel better. Then just dress up the bits on the rear cover that I need to. Just chuck some clean gloves on it so I don't ruin the silver. Oh yes, a couple of coats of black caliper paint and the diff casing is looking nice. The front flange has still got to come off, so I'll tidy that up when I take that off, just to do the front seal. But I'll wait for the diff to be all together so I don't have the pinion fall out or something stupid like that. Couple of little runs, but it's under the car, you won't see them. Got the ring gear all torqued up on the back there, Loctite, all that jazz. It's ready to go back in. Just going to chuck some grease in those bearings. And the rear cover is all but ready. I've just got to pull a breather off another one. But we've got the zinc plated drain, just with some goop around it just so it won't leak. The studs in there, the zinc plated fill, got the zinc bolts there, and then we've got the baffle in the back all ready to go. Looks like she's going to hold a hell of a lot more oil. Not actually sure how much it is, can't remember off the top of my head, but it's looking good. Biggest thing we're waiting on now is just the paint to dry, but that's alright, it can take its time. We'll go get something to eat while I wait. Alright, we're at that special point where the Nismo core gets to go in the housing. Actually there's a little bit of goop there, let's get that off. Last thing you want is any goo in your holes and break the casting on the case. Shouldn't happen, but you never know. Just going to go through the housing once more quickly and make sure there's no shit. I can see a little bit hanging off in the back, but it might just be a reflection. Everything's clean, including the shims. Nice and easy. Chuck them in, chuck the bearing races on, then position them in, slide the shims in. I think this big one will need to sit in there first, and then slide the two little side ones in as the diff falls into place. Been a while since I put together an R200, so it'd be a little bit of guesswork, but pretty much know what I'm doing. That was easier than I expected. I've got the diff core in now, so that's all in there. Spins, a little bit, same pretty much movement, backlash I guess you call that, as it had on the standard one, if not a little bit less. Just a bit noisier because the rear cover's off, but that's okay. Now I've just got to chuck some seals in. Actually, sorry, I've got to torque these four down just with the torque wrench. Just find the specs, do that quickly, and then just chuck on some bearing glue to make sure the teeth engagement's correct. It's not something I plan on adjusting, I just want to confirm it is pretty good before I chuck it all back together. And then I will chuck the back cover and the seals on. Also take off the front pinion and do that seal as well. Got the brand new rear cover seal there as well to go on, because why not? Really at the point I've been most excited about, and it's seeing the rear cover on. But for now, just pulled the old seal off the front, put the new one in, just got to put the front flange back on. Easy as, do it up tight, and way laughing there. The rear caps have been torqued down, just checked with some bearing glue on the gears. The gear engagement's the same as what it was standard, so that's easy. So get this front on, get the rear cover on, and then it's all done for today. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I just finish something and I just stare at it like, wow, that came out really good. I'm real happy with it. And today, that is building this diff. So we've got a Nismo 1.5 way LSD inside an R200 casing with dirty big G-Ready rear cover. As a point of comparison, that's the standard looking diff. At the moment I don't have any axle stubs in. That would be these two buggers here, only because they're going to get cut off here and new flanges welded onto them, as they need to suit my axle setup, which will be just some big GTR axles, but not sure if they're all going to work perfect yet. Just going to play it by ear and make it work, I guess. But yeah, can't stop looking at this, real happy with how it came out. It's a shame it's hidden under the car, but that's okay, it does its job. Some people know it's there. Just the small things like having everything zinc plated really did make the difference there.